Okay, so imagine trying to build a completely new industry from scratch. I'm not talking about just a single company, but an entire ecosystem. Well, that's exactly what a group in Kyushu, Japan decided to do back in 2015, with this huge plan to create a massive olive industry. Let's dive into this pretty incredible story. So it all kicked off with this really powerful headline in June of 2015. The Kyushu Olive Village was officially announced, and it was this incredibly bold, super ambitious vision to totally transform the region's agriculture and its economy. But this was about way more than just planting a few trees.
All right, so here's how we're going to break down their master plan in this explainer. First, we're going to look at the grand vision itself. Then, we'll see how they turned to Italy for the know-how, the foundation of their project. After that, we'll explore how this whole ecosystem started to take root across the island. And finally, we'll see how they plan to cultivate its future for the long haul. So let's start with that big vision. See, the organizers knew right from the get-go that this had to be about revitalizing an entire region. It was a project designed to breathe new life into the whole community, with olives right at the heart of it all. So what was the Kyushu Olive Village exactly? Well, it was this massive collaborative effort. You had key players like the Kaiheng-bara Olive Production Association and Olive Japan Incorporated, all coming together with one single powerful goal: to build a brand new end-to-end olive industry right there in Japan. But the real purpose of this project went so much deeper than just agriculture. This was a socioeconomic mission, really. They wanted to tackle the problem of abandoned farmland, create good jobs for young people, attract new families to the area, and even build up a whole new tourism industry. I mean, they were literally trying to build a new culture. And this slide just perfectly illustrates their ambition. They plan to control every single stage of the process, the whole shebang, from producing the seedlings themselves to growing them, harvesting the fruit, processing it, selling the products, and even using the beautiful groves for tourism and PR. It was a completely self-contained ecosystem they were building.
Okay, so the vision was huge, we get that. But how on earth could they possibly pull it off? That realization. The answer wasn't in Japan. It was in Italy.
The key to their entire strategy, the thing that drove everything, was closing a massive productivity gap. Just look at these numbers. An average Italian olive tree pumps out over 3 times more fruit than a Japanese one. We're talking 10 kilograms versus just 3. And then the oil extraction rate is a full 50% higher. That productivity gap isn't just big, it's gigantic.
Right? You can't just plant more trees. That's not going to solve the fundamental problem. You have to change the trees themselves. But importing millions of seedlings all the way from Italy? That's just not practical. So what do?
Their solution was absolutely brilliant. Bring the Italian parent trees to Japan and start their very own domestic seedling production. I mean, this solved 3 huge problems in one go. First, it meant healthier trees that weren't stressed from transport. Second, it guaranteed a stable, reliable supply. And third, it dramatically lowered the costs. This was a total game changer.
Now, to make this happen, they went straight to the source. In May of 2015, 2 specialists flew to Tuscany. And they didn't just go to any old place. They trained at a legendary nursery, a place founded way back in 1870. They were there to absorb generations of Italian know-how and bring it all back home to Kyushu.
And this plan wasn't just a theory on paper. By the time it was officially announced, the seeds of this olive revolution had already been planted and were really starting to spread all across the island.
And you can see here, by 2015, the movement was already taking off. You had a huge number of small, passionate growers, you had dozens of medium-sized operations, and then you had several massive groves that were anchoring the whole project. The interest and the buy-in were clearly already there.
And these weren't just dots on a map. We're talking about real people and real projects. Like in Hirado, growers were already shipping their fruit to be processed. Over in Kartu, they were aiming for high-value products, linking olives to a local cosmetics brand. And down in Kushima, an organic fertilizer specialist was planting new trees on historic terraced fields. The dream was actually becoming a reality right there on the ground.
But the organizers, they were playing the long game. They knew that for this to have real long-term success, they needed more than just trees and farmers. They needed business owners. And that led to the final and maybe the most crucial piece of their vision. They created the Practical Olive Entrepreneurship School. And what made this school so special was its goal. Get this, it wasn't about teaching farming, it was about teaching business. It covered the whole spectrum, cultivation, processing, management, and it was aimed squarely at aspiring entrepreneurs who could build that next generation of olive companies.
And this course schedule just shows you how comprehensive it was. I mean, one session you're learning about business analysis, and the next, you're literally out in the field for a hands-on harvest practicum. You'd cover agricultural accounting in the morning and then go on an orchard tour in the afternoon. It was the perfect blend of business theory and real-world practice.
This quote from the school's own brochure, it really just sums the whole thing up perfectly. It was a challenge, yes, but a challenge to build a business that wasn't just for today, but was about connecting food, agriculture, and health to create a better tomorrow for the entire region. So this entire grand vision, everything from the Italian seedlings to the business school, it was all launched with such incredible energy and foresight way back in 2015. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Nearly a decade later, just how tall have those olive trees grown, and how much of that ambitious village has truly come to life?